Today, we're going to dive into the very important topic of how to market your vacation rental property. So you want to own a vacation rental property, right? You're not alone. Matter of fact, this segment of real estate has been growing like crazy over the last few years. So what's the difference between those that are winning versus those that aren't? Well, you're in good hands today because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to properly market your vacation rental property. So what determines a winning vacation rental versus one that isn't? One of the biggest pieces of that puzzle is understanding where to advertise your vacation rental property. So today we're going to dive into that topic by first understanding how those advertising platforms work. Secondly, I want to go through those platforms, but also show you alternative ways to market your vacation rental property. And finally, give you some tips to set your vacation rental property apart from all of the others out there and put you on the road to success. If you're ready, let's go. So let's go over what are the most popular advertising platforms for vacation rentals that are on the market today. For the do-it-yourselfers, the self-managers, obviously the two big ones are Airbnb and VRBO. Let's start with Airbnb. It's the largest platform that exists out there, and it connects people who own a home, own vacation rentals, own short-term rentals with people that are wanting to vacation or travel. And they have over 6 million properties worldwide. And Airbnb facilitates the whole experience, from communication with guests to payments and reviews. And it does a great job of reminding and facilitating the communication between guest and homeowner. And you've probably seen some of the commercials about Airbnb recently. They've got some really cool features. Like if you wanted to just search properties that are waterfront, you can do that. Whereas before you weren't able to. You'd be able to search areas, but now you can search features for different properties. So it really is an extremely useful tool that is continually growing and innovating, and they are dominating the space. And there's no wonder why they are, is because they're continually adding more features to it that make it a really cool platform, even though it's already pretty spectacular. So financially, how does Airbnb work? Well, for hosts, Airbnb charges 3 to 5% of the amount charged for the rent or the stay. Or sometimes, depending on how strict your cancellation policy is, it might charge even a little bit more. If you're a little bit more lenient or you fall in line with their cancellation policy, they're probably going to be around that 3 to 5%. And on the guest side, if you're on the opposite side, if you're looking to rent or stay at a vacation rental through Airbnb, you're probably paying 12 to 16%. Now let's jump over to VRBO, Vacation Rentals by Owner. I remember when this first came out, I knew 2 individuals that were utilizing this platform, and I thought, man, this is pretty amazing. And it's really grown over the years as well. It currently has 2 million properties worldwide. Just like Airbnb, it facilitates the whole experience. Guest communication, reviews, payments, everything. So financially, how does VRBO work? Now VRBO, for hosts, it charges 5% of the rent or the amount they paid to stay at the vacation and a 3% processing fee. So it's definitely more, and it costs a little bit more than Airbnb. And same thing for a guest, they're charging 12 to 16%. And there are other platforms out there like Booking.com, Homestay, HomeAway, and Expedia, but most people are extremely familiar with Airbnb and VRBO. And that's usually where they're going to find places to stay. Now, there are services out there, management companies, that are kind of full service, but not really. I call them half service. And they have their own platforms that they market on as well. And those are companies like Vacasa or Evolve. And they do most things about getting the guests there, advertising, and they'll even adjust pricing for you on their platform, depending how you do it. And there's other independent companies out there, property management companies that have their own website. Matter of fact, we have a full service property management company on one of our rentals up close to Yellowstone, and they have their own website, cabino.com, and we utilize them. And there was a group of individuals that were testing Polaris snowmobiles and equipment that actually booked our cabin for the entire month of April, which was amazing because that never happens. Usually we rent out 2, 3, 4 nights the entire month of April, but because of their website or their advertising, they were able to find this group to stay there for the entire month. So there are some advantages to some of these groups that have their own website because they get return customers and they have a loyal following, especially in certain areas if they dominate certain areas. I know Blue Ridge, Georgia, there's a couple of companies there that are full service that have really done a great job of creating almost a monopoly on people that stay in that area. So with these half services, what don't they do? Well, they don't do maintenance, they don't do cleaning, they have people they reference you or refer you to, but you have to be on top of that yourself, right? So if a guest checks out, you're the one who's communicating with the cleaner, the maintenance individual, the handyman, the repair guy. That's the type of communication that you're going to end up doing. And then obviously, as I mentioned, there's the completely full service like a Cabino or some of the ones in Blue Ridge, Georgia who do absolutely everything. Now, our experience when we have advertised our vacation rental properties, we've had experience in all. We've had had groups that do absolutely full service, like a Cabino, where they charge us 25%, and we do self-management. And there's definitely advantage to both. Now, the biggest advantage depends on what you value most, your time or money. If you're looking to value your time, having a full service where they do everything, it absolutely requires very little of your time. With Cabino, for example, just this last year, we had a leak in our roof just from the snow. There's actually some ice that fell off the top roof, landed on the lower roof, and created a little bit of hole in the roof. We had to replace that portion of the roof, but Cabino handled it all. Once they said, hey, which group do you want to go with? We said this group, and they handled everything, right? They handled the maintenance inside, the roof repair on the outside, communication with the guest. It was actually really, really nice for them to be able to do that because, as you know, any type of construction, especially a roof that needs to be done, there's a lot of moving pieces, and to have an organization be able to come in there and handle all of that, and even some of the restoration that was done inside with the walls, the drywall, to communicate with those subcontractors was really nice to not have to do it. Now, they charge quite a bit for that, which is totally understood, but if you value money more, then self-management might be the way to go. We own a second vacation rental close to Yellowstone, and we self-manage that, and both of those do about $130,000 to $160,000. We've been between those two places the last 3 years, and think about it, if you're charging 25% off $150,000, you're probably paying close to $37,000, $40,000 just in management fees. Now, is it worth it? That's all up to you, depending on time and money is most important, but I'll tell you, most of the time, nobody cares more about your profit than you do. And on our one vacation rental in that same area, if we can get an extra $30,000 to $40,000 in our pocket, it's a huge difference for our bottom line. So now that you know all the areas that you can advertise and groups that you can use to advertise your vacation rental property, let's talk about what you can do to set it apart. First off, I tell everybody, find the right property, find a unique property. Obviously, you got to make sure that the numbers meet up, and I've done a ton of different videos on how to evaluate and how to look for vacation rental properties, but ultimately, you've got to find a property that's unique. My second home in Blue Ridge, Georgia, that's a vacation rental, it has amazing views. It sets it apart from all others out there. So to get to it, the number one rule in Blue Ridge, Georgia is wherever your cabin's at, you have to be within 12 to 15 minutes of the McDonald's on Main Street in Blue Ridge, and ours is about 13, 14 minutes. So it fits in that time frame, but you go up a little bit of a mountain, and the road diverges into two forks, and you go down the one fork. We're the second home from the end, and there's unobstructed views at each level of our home that you just can't duplicate. I mean, when the sun goes down, you got the view of the sun going down, the Blue Ridge Mountains, the blue hue, the red, the glow. It's amazing, right? So finding a unique property, there's not many properties that can duplicate that. And when we saw that with the property we bought, we knew that was one we wanted to get our hands on. So that's one thing, is finding a unique property or doing things to your property that make it unique and enhance it. Like we did for our Orlando property in Disney. We put a whole bunch of money into that to really separate it and to theme out every single room. So the experience was absolutely amazing when everybody goes there. And the reviews we get on that are second to none. Another thing that will help set it apart is getting a professional photographer to go in there and take pictures. Nothing will help your property more than the right type of pictures. You've all looked for Airbnbs, you've seen the pictures, and there's some pictures that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. And you get at the property and it's not quite as amazing as you thought. Still amazing, but those pictures totally oversell the property, which isn't a bad thing, right? You want it to look amazing, and hiring a professional photographer is an absolute must for your vacation rental business. The other thing you can do is your own website. For our Florida property, we have our own website. It's dinomitevilla.com. Like dino because it's dinosaur themed, MITE, villa, VILLA.com. And that's the site for our vacation rental in Florida. So having your own website allows you to get some bookings where you don't have to pay some of those extra charges that VRBO and Airbnb charges. And finally, social media. There are so many Facebook group pages that allow you to advertise your vacation rental, especially if it's a vacation rental for the city where your vacation rental is in. Being able to say, we've got a cancellation, we're doing a discount, or we're looking for somebody to stay at our place this time. That is one of the best ways to find people on a short notice to stay at your property to increase your revenue. So those are a few hacks that have worked for me. I'd love to hear what you've done. What are some things or places that you've advertised your vacation rental property with success? Let me know, comment. Let's engage in a dialogue. Matter of fact, I've got for you a free vacation rental calculator. And as I mentioned, that's one of the most important things when analyzing any vacation rental properties, putting in the income, the potential expenses, and letting you know if it's a good deal or not. It does all the analysis for you, and it's free, no charge. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.